I answered this question in the comments, but I think it deserves to go a little bit deeper in depth. So you posited Saitama going up against a reality warper. You said that the point of the reality warper's character is to warp reality. So from a doylist perspective, the thing that is most important is a character's narrative purpose. From a doylist perspective, in this scenario, the reality warper would warp reality. They would rewrite reality over and over and over and over and over again. And yet, despite all that, Saitama would win with one punch. Maybe he would pull a Superboy Prime punches reality something. Or maybe he would punch so hard he would unwarp reality. Or maybe the reality warper just doesn't think to unwrite Saitama from existence. Either way, from a doylist perspective, the idea is both characters would have to fulfill their necessary role. Saitama would have to win in one punch, and the reality warper would have to rewrite reality with near infinite power. And whatever confrontation both of them have, they have to necessarily fulfill those roles. From a Watsonian perspective, the narrative role of these characters don't matter. Narrative roles are important to a story, sure, but Watson is a character inside the story. He doesn't care about what the purpose of these characters are, he only cares about what the characters can do. From a Watsonian perspective, if a reality warper met Saitama, then the reality warper can snap their fingers and Saitama's dead. The creation of these terms was largely because people were debating things like, can there be cases that Sherlock can't eventually solve? Or, how did Sherlock come back from the dead after he fell off a waterfall fighting Moriarty? The doylist said it's because Sherlock is Sherlock. For Sherlock to necessarily be Sherlock Holmes, he has to be able to solve any case. He has to be a protagonist that always comes back. And the Watsonians said, no, it's because Sherlock is so intelligent, he can think that far ahead. He can make a plan for when he falls off the waterfall. He can see through any conundrum and solve any case. Neither is right or wrong. They're just two different ways of looking at story analysis. Doylists would say that seeing what Saitama has done in the past, we can extrapolate that if he were to go up against an even more powerful foe, he would find some way to punch them and win, because that's what he's done to every other foe in the past. Watsonians would say, based on what we've seen Saitama do in the past, we have a feeling for what his in-universe power level is, and thus we have a feeling for what his limits are. And since there are other characters in other universes that can surpass those limits, then he's obviously fallible and can lose. And these discussions about doylist versus Watsonian analysis date back to the 1800s. We're just continuing the tradition today with anime.